Well, believe it or not, there was a claim that you could calculate the distance to the horizon with the Rayleigh Criterion a few weeks back. And the guest making this claim was Flat Earth Data. Now, if you don't know him, this is one of his favorite questions. What causes the horizon? Earth curvature or eyesight? Eyesight causes the horizon? That would be similar to asking, do ears cause sound? But anyways, here's Flat Earth Data.
Ruhef, I asked you this a while back. I asked you, can you calculate the distance to the horizon using the Rayleigh Criterion? And you said no, correct?
Using the Rayleigh. What?
Yeah, the Rayleigh Criterion. You know what?
Yeah,
Can you
correct.
tell me what
That's
the
gibberish.
Rayleigh Criterion? Can you tell me what it is?
Well, Ruhif is correct. This is gibberish. I think everybody knows that the Rayleigh criterion is used to calculate the diffraction limit of optical devices, not distances. But let's continue with Flat Earth Data.
I'll give you the math right now to show you the
Oh, no,
calculable. So
I've
the
got the
Rayleigh
math.
Criterion, I'll tell you what it is. 1.22 times the nanometer of 500 divided by the size of the aperture of slit. Okay. In this case, we're talking about the human eye, which is 0.005 meters. And we're going to talk about 500 nanometers, but we're going to turn it into meters for the calculation. So we're going to take 1.22 times it by 0.0000005 divided by 0.005 will give you radians of 0.000122. We times this by 57.3 to get the degrees, which works out to be 0.0069. That degrees is based on the angle of visible light's maximum resolvability. In other words, that 0.0069 is the maximum angle of resolution detail on 500 nanometers.
Well, I'm not certain if he threw in enough zeros with his conversions, but also remember that 500 nanometers is in the middle range of visible light, and 5 millimeters is an average pupil diameter. But he did get the correct answer of 0.000122 radians. And to convert radians to degrees, he multiplied by 57.3, which just is a rounded off figure of 180 divided by pi. But the answer is actually 0.00699 degrees, which would round off to 0.007 degrees. But I'm just going to use his answer, although I am going to pull out my red pen and mark this like the math papers I used to get back from my teachers. This is not a measurement of distance. In fact, the Rayleigh criterion is not even a measurement of the eye's resolution. Haven't flat earthers ever had an eye test and seen this eye chart? So let's take a look at the letter E for 6/6 or 20/20 vision, which is considered perfect vision. So from where you stand, like all the other letters, the height and width of the E is 5 arc minutes in size, and this is divided into 1 arc minute segments. So if you have 6/6 or 20/20 vision, this means you can resolve things down to 1 arc minute, which is 0.0167 degrees. So a person with 20/20 vision actually has worse resolution than the Rayleigh criterion calculation of 0.0069 degrees, because the diffraction limit of the eye's lens is only one factor that determines the eye's resolution. And believe it or not, now the real pseudoscience begins.
Let's take the size of the Earth in feet, and let's take the distance to the horizon, because we know those two facets. So we do arctangent, 15,840 feet, divided by 131,477,280 feet. That's a rough number. You're going to end up with 0.0069.
So what he's doing is taking the globe horizon distance for a 6-foot person, and in feet that would be 15,480 feet, and he's also taking the circumference of the Earth, and in feet that'd be 131,477,280 feet. And what he did is plug these numbers into a trigonometric formula, and he came up with 0.0069 degrees. Now I ran these out a few more decimal places. Now, it's not a perfect match to the Rayleigh Criterion calculation, but this is not the mistake, and it's time to bring out the red pen again. Why is he using a trig formula? This formula is used to calculate the angle of a right triangle, not a sphere. But believe it or not, flat Earth data uses it to divide a distance on the globe Earth by its circumference. Time for the red pen again. Where is the angle? So let's be honest, this is a fake math formula. But let's continue on with flat Earth data.
So we have the Rayleigh Criterion offering me the angle of resolvable detail based on the wavelength of light, which works out to be the same degree using those two measurements. Now, what's really awesome about it is that if we take the that 0.0069 and we divide it by the tangent of the distance of the horizon, we end up with the size of the Earth. This is based on visible wavelength of light.
I think he got a little bit too excited because he said if you divide 0.0069 by the tangent to the distance of the horizon, this will give you the size of the Earth. What he meant to say was that the Earth's circumference is equal to the distance to the horizon divided by the tangent of 0.0069 degrees. So if we use the 3-mile distance to the horizon of 15,840 feet, this will give us 131,531,180 feet. Convert this to miles and we get 24,911, which is a little bit bigger because we had rounded off 0.0069 to the 4th decimal place. Of course, this fake math formula only gets the magic number of 0.0069 degrees for a 6-foot elevation with a 3-mile horizon. So let's review what flat Earth data did. First, he made a Rayleigh calculation for the human eye to get an answer of 0.0069 degrees. And please note that this is the calculation in metric units. Next, he made a fake math formula. Then he plugged in a 3-mile distance to the horizon because that gave him the magic number of 0.0069 degrees. Of course, in this calculation, he used imperial units. Then he rearranges his fake formula so the Earth's circumference is equal to the horizon distance divided by the tangent of the angle. And of course, this gives him the answer that he wants, the circumference of the Earth. And finally, he thinks he is a math genius who has calculated the distance to the horizon with the Rayleigh Criterion. And in conclusion,
this is based on visible wavelength of light. This is why I think the hijacking of our vision has been taking place.
So does this statement even make any sense at all? I really think it would be more honest to say that Flat Earth Data's critical thinking skills have been hijacked by a diet of too many Flat Earth videos. So did he really calculate the distance to the horizon using the Rayleigh Criterion? Well, again, Ruhif is 100% correct. This is gibberish, but I'm going to be a little more blunt. This is 100% bullshit.